What up, guys? Jason Guyman here with King of Pressure Washing, Christmas lights, whatever. And tonight we're going to talk about the struggles, the wins, the successes of how to get to $300,000. And so we got Chris and Bonnie on here. That's who I will be talking with. And so that is where we will be spending our time at as we talk tonight. And so, as we talk about this will probably go, I don't know which way we'll be going because I love rabbit holes and rabbit trails are the best way to learn. And so, you all can keep growing your business. Where's my comments at? I'm not seeing you. There you go. So, those are things that we are going to talk about. And I don't know why that was up there. But other than that, this week today I went and did a Christmas light install on our church. Normally I do it in October, but it was busy for me in October, so I went and got some Christmas lights in today, and that is what I'm in my Christmas light shirt, but that's why we are here. So let's talk about how do we get to 300,000. Let's talk about what some struggles. Let's talk about how do we grow our business. Let's talk about all of that good things. I always talk about how to keep educating yourself. And again, I am going to bring up the book again, this one here, The Ultimate Sales Machine. It is one of my favorite books by Chet Holmes. It's a great book. It talks all about different things. It talks about scripts. It talks about how to sell to people. It talks about lots of different things. And it is one of my favorite books to give to you all because I think it is a great book for you to learn and keep growing your business. So with that, we got Mr. Aces. Hi, howdy. I'm in Dallas. We got Wallace. Hi, everyone. We got Sydney. Hey, Jason. And guest, hope you are doing well. So with that, Bonnie and Chris, tell us a little bit about who are you, where are you from, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we're out here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We started this back in November of 2021 and just kind of grown it from there. Bonnie's originally from here. Before I came out, I was in the military for 16 years and struggled with losing everything and potential homelessness, and pressure washing kind of saved me from that life.
So what branch was you in?
I was in the Air Force. I flew on the back of the 17s as a medic. Basically, tried to do that when I got out, but $15 an hour job with 6 kids. Well, now 6 kids. Yeah, that ain't gonna really cut it.
So you were starting from nothing, coming out of starting the homeless side of things. As we know, that ain't always fun. Tell us what were some of the struggles when you were trying to start your pressure washing business back then.
So, um, I mean, I was always resourceful, and I listened to you a lot. So I learned to just do with what I had, and I think the biggest struggle year one, not necessarily year two, is maybe not having a lot of financial means for things and not really seeing money as more of a tool than just something to hold on to. So now I see money as a way to grow, as a resource, as opposed to when I didn't have any money. Definitely viewed it differently.
So as you grew your pressure washing business, was you one to go out there and buy all this big equipment, or how did you get through? And the picture that I posted of this as a thumbnail is their, I think it's their current rig too. So it's not like they have some big giant rig sticking out of the back of their truck.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. So I actually, I have hose reels now after, almost 3 years. I did upgrade to hose reels. It does make a difference. I'm not gonna lie, it does make a difference. But yeah,
He fought getting those though for years. He's all about manual labor. He will make anything hard and love it. I was so glad when he got those reels.
So with that, right? I'm hitting on this because a lot of times people think that to start a pressure washing business you need to go buy all this high dollar equipment, and that's what's going to make you money. And so reason why I'm hitting on that is does the equipment really make you the money at the end of the day?
No, not at all. I mean, and I don't know, I kind of knew that in the military because when you deploy, a lot of times you don't have the resources. But, you know, one of the things you got to learn to be resourceful with what you have because that's just life. That's reality. If you don't got the money and you don't got the 8 gallon a minute, well, if you got like a water hose and a pump up sprayer, make it work because you can. It's just going to take a little longer.
And you know what I love about this here is, as I was talking to Walter, he's on our Monday night marketing night call, Zoom call, and this is year 2 or 3 for him too, and he upgraded from his 2.7 pressure washer to a 4 gallon a minute, and he still does roof cleaning with a pump up sprayer. And
Right.
this is like year 3 or 4, and he's going to do 160, 170, maybe almost $200,000 again this year with that setup of not all of this crazy equipment at the end of the day.
That's awesome.
So, with that, what are some things that you did so that you could start getting business?
Um, I mean, there's no secret. Like, either you're gonna work hard and you'll be consistent, disciplined, and do it every day, or you're not. I mean, that's just God's honest truth. If you put the work in, it's kind of like power of the universe. What you put into it, it's going to give back to you. So, I did it every day. I mean, what's the point of just doing it 5 days a week? I did it every single day until it started, paying dividends. And first year we made 200. This year we're going to be around 350. So it's worked. So I can't really argue with results.
So, with that, talking about discipline, right? Because that is an important part of why people are successful versus people are not successful. And it is not always easy, right? That's not something that is easy to do. And so, what are some things that you would tell somebody how to be disciplined and to make sure that you're doing it every day and not just for a couple days?
I feel like I'm about to quote Bobby Walker. I don't want you to get demonetized. Like, stop listening to your bitch voice. Just do it. Like
Yeah.
it's hard. You're gonna be tired. There is no easy road that's gonna give you like great things in life. Like that's just the way it is, man. And I think once you accept that, you'll become empowered and you'll start believing in yourself and you'll just build it over time.
Yeah. Don't overthink things. Like, don't even think. Just do.
What
Just
about shiny syndrome systems of you see somebody on Facebook doing something and oh I want to go do that versus what you know that it's working. A lot of times I see people, you know, I know people give me a hard time about my yard signs, but they work, and if they didn't work, I wouldn't keep pushing it. That is one thing that works. I would say probably more than any other type of marketing out there and without spending thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And it works in every market. The only market it might not work in is if you get fined for it. Now, you actually have to get fined and not threaten fined. And so that's kind of where people get scared and they quit doing things or they do whatever. And so I see people, they start their business and they're like, oh, Jason says to do this. And then the next thing is oh, this person's going to do EDDM and I'm going to go do EDDM. And then they quit doing what they've been successful with. Right. And so being consistent, being relentless, and being prolific about doing it over and over and over is not always fun. Is this how you've been able to get to $300,000? Is doing the same stuff over and over and day after day after day?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that, and really like you can put that towards anything in life. Before I did this, I was really big into mixed martial arts and I trained every single day and I did the exact same things every single day until I became very efficient at it, and it's the same thing in business. You have to do it 10,000. It's that whole 10,000 hour rule. I mean, you just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and eventually it gets easy. That's just the way it works.
Yes, this is live, Rick. Rick's another one that is old and he doesn't like technology at all, but he has went 100% on yard signs also and doing them right. And he's going to do over $300,000 in pressure washing in a gutter cleaning business. And so it's back to being prolific, being relentless and going out there and getting it done. And so that's another person that I had to just say that it's live for him. Who knows? He's old and his technology doesn't always work good, but that's where it is. And yes, I know I'm giving him a hard time. That's because he came to two of my classes this year, and so I like to give him a hard time. So, with that, what are some things as you're growing a business? What are some things that you have to do to keep motivation and keep moving forward? Obviously, having 6 kids is a pretty good motivator to keep your butt moving so you're not eating ramen noodles, right? Or
We do
MREs.
tons of ramen noodles.
I know the kids like it now, don't they?
They really do. I ask them what they want for dinner. I'll just have ramen. I'm like, this is just not good.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about working with your spouse, because a lot of times I don't get to talk about this because I don't have both people of working with our spouse. Let's go down that rabbit hole a little bit. How has this affected your relationship, and what are some things that you would say that, well, let's just say, how has it affected your relationship working with your spouse?
Well, we're still married. That's a plus. Second season of Christmas Lights. We're still married. No, it's definitely not gonna lie. It's been challenging. It's hard to, especially as a woman, it's hard to kind of think of your husband as a romantic partner, and then also your boss. Sorry, the dog is that's nuts. But so I've had to learn to not take things personally, which I try my best. But I have to really think about what he's saying and why he's saying it, not take it personally. Remember our goals, what we're trying to accomplish. But communicating, you have to be able to talk to each other in a way that you're going to want to hear each other. Um, you can't just constantly bitch at each other. No one's going to hear anyone. Um, so that's one of the main things, is communicating properly.
So what about, the one thing that I always tell people is have your role, right? Whatever that role may be. This is your role and you stay out of my lane and I stay out of your lane. How has that, do you all try to do that kind of stuff, or do you like to get in each other's lane and try to wreck things up for each other?
I kind of know what his lane is. Um, I observe and know, and we're both realistic about what we're both good at. If there's a certain area that I'm good at, he'll step off. If there's a certain area he's good at, I'm like, go ahead. You kind of have to pick each other up, and wherever your strengths are, let that person shine.
Yeah, that's a big thing that a lot of people struggle with. And one thing you can do, like Chris does too, is use Bonnie's Facebook stuff, so that way he can go into all the groups and be a little creepster at that point too. So.
Yeah, totally. I have like 5,000 friends. I don't know who any of them are. None. I didn't friend any of them either. He friended everybody. We had like 10,000 LinkedIn people. I think over 10,000. It's scary.
But I love it because you know why?
He
Why?
listened to do. That's why.
That's exactly right. Exactly
Yeah.
right. And he's being prolific and he's being relentless and he's being consistent. And that's the most important key. And this is how you're able to get to 300,000. This is how you're able to get to 500,000. And this is how you will get to 1 million or 2 million, right? It's about being consistent. It's not about going and finding the shiny thing and the flashy thing. And this is how you do it because Chris you post like once or twice a day, don't you, on her Facebook posts and different things. And so that's how you're able to get these jobs. And that's the awesome thing about how to do this. And so as we're talking here, I know how much. So if you did 300,000, how much money did you spend in marketing in 2023?
So we've been around 10 to 15% every month. We'll be anywhere from 3 to 5,000, which is what typically we were bringing in, except for like the winter months. So I mean, I think for year 1 through 2, when people don't know you, I mean that's probably where you got to be. Until that word of mouth, brand recognition, referrals, networking actually kicks in.
Yep.
Boots on the ground a lot.
What do you mean by that? What boots on the ground do you like, or which boots on the ground that work for y'all?
Well, yard signs definitely worked. Flyers, we made up our own flyers, and I would drive around for every day, days, just putting flyers in mailboxes, same neighborhoods over and over and over. And we didn't get that many calls, but it's really not about that. It's about people continuously seeing our name or brand, because somewhere down the line they're going to need something cleaned and they'll hopefully remember that flyer. Um, we've gotten kicked out of neighborhoods. We've gotten all kinds of calls. When we tried clip flyers, that was a big no-no. We got in so much trouble for the clip flyers. You're littering in our yard, blah blah blah. So that wasn't my favorite, but yeah, flyers, yard signs. I would go door knocking. Hated that too. But when your budget is really low, that's really what you got. That and social media. What else are you
Right,
gonna do?
right, right. Well, and that's kind of my point, right? Especially when you're on a budget, especially when you're broke, you got to do the hard things. And a lot of people want the easy button. And even as we've grown to where you are now, is there really an easy button?
No,
No.
no. Well, there's one at Staples. You can get you
Yeah,
can get you
yeah,
can get it there.
But
yeah. No.
right, everybody wants the easy button of I want to get to this and not do any hard work. And the thing that helps with as a spouse couple, um, is that usually you can do, especially if nothing else, the spouse has to be your cheerleader. If your spouse isn't doing nothing in the business, they still need to be your cheerleader, because if there's a negative Nelly, you're going to really have a hard time in business. It's not going to go easy because you got a negative Nelly over there. And you do have to have a spouse that is a cheerleader for you, that will help you, encourage you, because it's going to be hard. If I told you pressure washing business, Christmas light business was easy, I'd be lying right through my teeth.
Mhm.
A Christmas light business, right? I mean, it makes great money. How stressful is a Christmas light business during November, or yeah, between October and November?
Oh Lord. I listen to so many meditative like audiobooks and YouTube videos. I would have to tell myself every day it's gonna be okay. We're gonna get that order in. It's gonna be shipped right. We're gonna find employees. We lost employees like every single week. I mean, one week we lost, I think, three in a week. And we had a huge commercial job that same week. But like you just have to keep going and not even think about what's happening, honestly. I really don't know what else to say about it.
Right? But that's my point. I'm not even making this up. I could get anybody on here and anybody will tell you that, Running a Christmas light business is probably one of the most stressful things you'll ever do. Can you make lots of money
Chaos.
doing it? Yes. Right?
Okay.
Do what? What do you say?
It's chaos.
It's
Like
complete. Go
he'll
ahead.
call me and be like, "Hey, we need SPT, we need SPT one wire, we need vampire plugs, we need socket wire." I'm like, "What did you grab this morning?" And I'm running around to all the local stores, getting whatever supplies that didn't come in because who cares if you paid $600 for extra shipping? It didn't come anyways. Not talking about you, Donovan, but you just never know what's going to happen. Or a client will be like, "Oh, how about we also wrap these columns, do this, and blah, 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 and add garland here." Like, you just never know what's going to happen, and you have to just roll with it nonstop.
So that's the Christmas light business. The pressure washing business is not as stressful. It's still stressful, but it's not as stressful, I don't think. But it can still, you're still dealing with people, you're still dealing with Karens, you're still dealing with those types of people. And I wanted to hit on something today. I was actually talking to my cousin, and she had somebody do some house cleaning at their house, and it's a cheap person, right? They're cheap. And I've talked about this person before in the past, and they're cheap. And what happens when you get with cheap people, right? And so I'm going to tell you some of the things that happens, because I was dying laughing when she was telling this story. And so, you guys are smiling because you guys have heard me talk about being a premium pricing, and this is pressure washing, this is Christmas lights, this is whatever business that you're in of the premium pricing, because she's cheap. She was there twice as long as they probably should have been. There was three of them there for 5 hours for $200, right? I'm just like, who the hell is going to show up for 300 or 500 $200 for 5 hours, and there's three people working? And so that's the first thing of like red flag, right? And so it's back to the whole thing of when you pay premium pricing, you're going to get premium customer service, right? And so the number one thing that I see people struggle with, and this is where I was just like, I was just listening to this conversation. She was talking to my mom, and she was saying that I told her to do this, this, and this. And she didn't even, it's back to listening to what your customer wants, right? If you don't listen to what your customer wants, then you're going to miss it, because in your mind, you're thinking, I need to pressure wash this, and this. Oh, are they talking over here? I need to get the lights on this, and this. Are they talking over here? And they're telling you what they want. They're literally, she was telling them what they want, and they screwed it up to so bad it wasn't even funny. Like, she was had to go and take all her towels down, back down, and it's just back to listen to your customer. And as you listen to your customer, you will get the best customer service to that customer, right? Because if you know that customer wants, the reason why in my 25 steps of the perfect house wash is asking, why did you call me here? I don't care if I pull up and the north side of the house is completely green. But if she tells me, you know what, every time I pull in the garage, I've told my husband 3 times to clean that spot down there, and he never did. Well, guess what? If you go over there and clean that north side, and you're like, man, that north side is all clean now, and it's amazing, and she don't give two rats about it because she never sees it. She always drives this way into the garage and never sees that backside, and she comes around there and sees that spot. You're the dumbest person out there at that point because you didn't listen. So, with that, I know I've kind of veered off there, but I wanted to do that for a reason, because I know Bonnie's pretty good at customer service and that good stuff. So let's talk about a little bit about how do you handle customer service and talking to people, either on the phone or in person. Or let's go that route. Do you all do in person quotes, or do you do online quotes?
We do in person quotes until we absolutely cannot. Um, with pressure washing and also Christmas lights. Like when it's the height of both both seasons. We might get to a point where have to go online, but I personally like going in person. I like to meet the customer. I As soon as I get there, I usually compliment their home, and I'm not just blowing smoke up their ass. There's normally something I can find that I like. Um, I compliment their home. I look around for something that we can connect with, whether it be a sports team flag or something. These are all tips I've gotten from you and from other entrepreneurs out there. But and then I do always ask them what their main concern is. And I make sure that I relay that to him and the team. Because I know for me personally, if there was one certain spot that I wanted done and I paid top dollar, and at the end of the job, that spot was still there, like, I don't care how good of a job you did with everything else. Like, the main thing I was talking about is still there. That's big to me. So I just really try to listen to what they want and then relay the message to him, to make it happen. And he always does. And if he
Well,
doesn't, we talk about it again.
so that's a good point of listening to the customer, right? And I love about building relationship with them, right? Because you build something with them, whether whatever you compliment something before you even get too far down the road, because
Mhm.
you're making that customer feel like good friends at the end of it. You know, you're
Mhm.
like best buds by the time you're done with this conversation, and that's how you're able to get to where you are. What has I know you sent it to me. I don't know if I could find it. What has been your average ticket this year?
So for lights, it's 2,800, and washing is 1,200.
So a $1,200 average ticket for pressure washing, and a that which that's amazing in itself, and a $2,800 for Christmas lights. That right there is what I love, because that is awesome. And this is why I have people on like this, so you can learn to, so that you can grow your business too, that there is not just cheap people out there. Tell me a little bit about how did you start and not be the cheap person and start charging premium pricing?
I
He
mean, we
always
always
did.
did it.
He
We,
listened to you. He started out from the gates premium. I was like, huh?
yeah, we don't know any other price. I mean, that's it. I hear a lot of other prices, but I've never done them.
So tell me about it with your side, Bonnie, when he's like telling you how to price these things that high, and you're like, do what?
Yeah, well, we live in the town we live in. I grew up here. So I mean, I'm a local. I know kind of all the little no name, what do you call it, companies that charge like dirt cheap, and that's usually who people go for. So honestly, I hadn't heard of premium pressure washing prices. So when he told me how much we were charging, I was like, what in the world? How am I supposed to sell this for triple the amount when they could just call, chuck in the truck and get it done for $99? And we walked away from a lot of customers. I was told no a lot, and quite honestly, I can't stand sales, but that's my job. Um, and I had to get used to no, hearing no, people thinking that I was crazy, and it you just have to keep doing it, and then over time you start to realize your value. You start to understand more about the $99 guy and why they're out of business and why they don't work in the long run. You start to notice that customers who said no before are calling you this year. um, it's something that you just have to believe in yourself, your company, and what you do. But you are going to hear no. You're going to. I mean,
Yeah.
and
The
not in a
power
nice
of
way.
no, and it's just a numbers game. How many no's does it take to get a
Yep.
yes?
Mhm. Yep.
So I know Chris does a lot of the social media stuff, which helps us get yeses, right? By people seeing the good pictures and doing all of that kind of stuff. What are some things that has helped you get better pictures out there, or what people want to see?
Well, at first, like, I mean, really, we always took your advice on this. Where if I can get it to where it's us working in our company shirts, if we can get the truck in the background, um, we've always tried to do it that way. We will do like pictures at night. We'll do videos at night of the lights, but more often than not, it's of us working because I mean that's what people want to see. They see the truck riding around town all the time because it's the only vehicle I have. So I always take a picture with the truck in the background so people see that on social media. Then they see me on in traffic, person. So that it's just it's that brand recognition. They see it everywhere in the pictures and me driving down the highway.
Yeah, every single job he does, every single one, he takes a picture of the truck in front of the house, and it will say, "Great day of pressure washing in Merle's Inlet. Great day of pressure washing in Polly's Island. Great day of lights on the beach." Great, every single job, and people like it. They like it gets lots of likes. I'll spend 2 hours on a video and no one will watch it, but they will like his truck in the background.
Yep. So I got Tyler Starkey on here. I don't know if he put no is next opportunity, right? And that is true.
That's good.
Um, Tyler is another one that's grown his business crazy. I need to get him on here. He does. He's kind of taking off for working for a cause with pink cancer, and so it's pretty neat to watch him grow and expand and get big. And from that, and that's something else I want to hit on. So working for a cause, right? I know you kind of have a heart for disabled vets. Tell me a little bit about that, Chris.
Yeah, so I'm a disabled vet. After 16 years, I have a rating. Still things I live with every day, but you just learn to get over it and just kind of move on. But my heart really is the homeless population. I hear stats every day. We have 300 homeless in Myrtle Beach, about 10,000 nationwide, and my first priority truly obviously is to God, second is to family. And once we get the family taken care of, the next thing is how I want to get back to the community. And I think it would be amazing to be able to buy homes for disabled vets that can't find work. They've been out of work for so long that they end up homeless, which we do see a lot here in Myrtle. And we do work with an organization. I still work with them. And if I get to a point where I mean I could just buy a whole bunch of tiny homes and take them off the street, I would love to. I mean that's really my passion as far as giving back to the community, and that's where I feel like I'm going to be the best as far as like fighting some type of cause out there.
Yeah, that's what the who we worked with. That's what they did. The company that we worked with, they bought tiny homes for the local veterans, and so we put money into that.
And you know what? It's always better when you can help other people. And as a mindsets of sometimes we're here mindsets of whatever, but money's bad or whatnot. But this is a way that you can give back to people, and this is a way that you can help people by donating, and not just donating money, but donating time too.
Hmm.
And if you can get your business up and running and get it to a place where you have employees, it makes things a lot easier to be able to do that. Let's talk a little bit about this. Is one of the hardest things for a lot of people. Obviously, quit their job and go full time is the first thing. But if you're homeless and you ain't got nothing else, that's not so bad. But what about the part of hiring employees? Let's go down that road because that's always a fun road. Of let's talk about a little bit about employees. What's been your journey with getting employees or having employees?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, like I've had some really good people that I've talked to. Donovan's actually one of them. Donovan has helped me out quite a bit as far as my hiring and firing process. Even, Chris Johnson, I talked to him quite a bit about how he deals with his employees and a couple other entrepreneurs. It was pretty rough at first, but once I kind of got for me, the tough part was I'm coming from a government military world to a civilian world, and it's not the same. You can't just get rid of people. I just maybe slap them around, do wall to wall counseling. If you got vets on here, they know what I'm talking about. But with the civilians, like I found out, Maxwell is a great leader that I used to look up to and listen to a lot, and he always talks about put the right people on the bus, and I've implemented things to make sure we're not just getting not anybody is getting a phone call from me or getting a sit down interview or getting a trial day. Like we have a guy now that does the work of three people. He's amazing, and I've learned so much lessons in having an A player because I've fired like 20 people in the 2 years that I've been doing this, and I have had one guy out of 20, which is 5% of people, that is an A plus player that I really want to invest in full time. So he has taught me that I need to keep hiring and firing until the right one comes. And now that we have somebody, I mean, he is really taking us to the next level. And we're doing, we're doing most of this with two people. I mean, we're
Yeah,
we're gonna hit close to 200K with just two people and lights.
too
So
many
we,
people.
well, yeah, three and a half.
Mm.
Um,
Watch it.
but you know that it really, like when you find that one guy that's gonna propel you, you gotta hold on to them. You gotta pay them well. You gotta take care of them. You gotta get them benefits. So this is why the premium pricing is so important because that stuff costs a lot of money, but people are not going to stay long term if you can't pay them right or give them the right benefits to take care of their family.
Yeah. And he's not even a roof guy. He's on the ground a lot and helps us on the ground, but he shows up every single day. He is not on his phone constantly. He's not asking about his lunch break the moment that he arrives. Like he is there until Chris is done. Um, and that is just a breath of fresh air. But we have been around the ringer with employees. It's not easy.
So that's something that I think a lot of people struggle with is employees and how to deal with them and how to understand them, right? Because a lot of times we just don't understand them. When I do the DISC program with my new training classes I've done here recently, I do the DISC program and I do the love language test. And the reason why I do those two things is because it's super important to understand first off, who our customer is, but it's even more important to who our employees are, right? Our employee is our number one asset at the end of the day. A lot of times we treat our customers like gold and we treat our employees like crap. And it really should be we treat both like gold because if we put the right people on the right places in the right part of the bus, we can go and do way more amazing than ourselves can by ourselves, right? I know I talked about me taking over water rescue, and this is something that I'm learning really fast, really hard, right? If I let people do what they're good at, I can't do half of what they're doing because they're really good at it. And why do I want to try to tell them what to do when they know way better than what I do? And so
Right.
these are things that we can do so that we can keep growing our business and we can keep focusing and where we need to go at. Daniel, he did $160,000 his very first year doing pressure or Christmas lights, and he just put on there. That sounds like my rate of employees.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to read something. Um,
Uh-uh.
so with that, with the employees and learning how to find and treat employees and do all that, what are some other struggles? Or let's not go down that road. So with that, what has been some struggles to get us to where we are now, and how did we overcome them?
So, I I mean, I'm gonna just go right back to mindset. You know, that's gonna be everybody's biggest struggle. Like, what you believe is what you become. You know, so if you don't think big, if you aren't in a growth mindset, I just don't think you're gonna get very far. Like right now, like yeah, we had a great year. I mean, you know, what we almost doubled, you know, what we did the first year, but I'm not even thinking about that. I'm like, hey, let's use some of this money and let's keep growing. Let's, you know, keep going. Like, how do we get to 500 next year, 750 the year? Like, you know, how do we get to 7, 8 figures? Like, I never really think about, you know, oh, I got all this money now I'm gonna go chill in Hawaii. Like, even though that's great, I just want to keep going. You know, I think that's the only way, you know, you're ever going to really be successful in anything.
So I liked what you said there because a lot of times, mindset. You know, a lot of times you hear this a lot, but it's people are like, "How can I change my mindset?" Right? And there's actually a book I'm reading right now that I would highly recommend everybody to read. It's called Mind Shift. Because it's about making our floor a lot. A lot of times we're here at our floor of this is where we're this is what we need, and then we have the ceiling. But how do we make the ceiling our new floor? And it's all about up here in the mind shift of how do we need to think about it different than what we're doing right now. And so with that, this is something that a lot of people struggle with because if you have a poor mindset, if you have a religious back mindset, you have a you're a stupid idiot mindset because that's what you were told and your parents told you that or somebody told you that and you believe that, and you got to get out of that, right? You can't believe that. What are some ways that can help people to get out of that mindset?
I think the best thing to do is obviously like celebrate your wins. Like don't, you know, don't let that pass by. You know, if you made like 100,000, man, give yourself a pat on the back, man. That's a win because most people don't even do that their first year. Um, but always like think what's the next level, like okay, I got to 100, how do I get to 200, how do I get to 3, 4, 5, and so on. Like always be thinking like, how do I get there? Like it's like that old saying, you know, you can be happy but don't be satisfied. You know, don't ever get comfortable. Just try to keep going to the next level because the day you get comfortable, I think is the day, you know, things start going backwards for you.
So hitting a $94,000 month, what do you think about that? Did you think you could do that?
That was, I think I worked every day.
Yeah.
Those were seven.
A lot
Those
of
were
rainy days,
long
Ted.
weeks,
Rainy
man.
days too.
But
Not
it
only
was,
7 days, but probably 12 to 14 hours a day on top of it.
Yeah.
yeah, it was long.
When we wrapped the garland around the for the commercial job, the light poles, my hands, it looked like chickens had attacked my hands. Like I took pictures of it. I was actually kind of proud. But yeah, we made 94,000, but we worked for it. I'll tell you that.
Right. So, what is a book that you have read that Daniel put that he's at 165,000 his very first year of Christmas, very first year of starting a business at all, which is pretty
That's
freaking
awesome.
amazing.
That is awesome.
What's a book? I always like to talk about education and keep growing and don't ever be satisfied where you are because I feel like a lot of people, whether you're in the pressure washing business or Christmas light business and you do 100,000 and you're comfortable there and you sit there and you don't want to learn anything else because you know everything, just ask them and they're that type of person that knows everything. What's a book that you have read that has helped you grow your business?
I mean, I've read a lot, But if I were to say like something on this podcast, like a book that I would tell people to read that I've read this last year is it's kind of significant because Napoleon Hill wrote it, but it's a less known book because he wrote it back like in the 40s, but they actually didn't publish it until the 2000s, and it's called Outwitting the Devil. Amazing book. I mean, you don't even have to be religious to love this book because you could just see it as the alter ego. Um, I highly recommend because we're talking about mindset a lot in this podcast. You got to read that book. It will really change the way you look at the way your inner voice, your bitch voice comes out.
And not only read it, but you got to listen to it because the Audible does
Yeah,
the voiceover of it, and it's really really good.
I agreed.
Um, so mine is not going to be as scholarly, but mine is the high five habit. I have a completely different mindset. I think Chris's mindset, he's just all ambition, like go go go. I mean, naturally he's like that. Not me. I'm just kind of like, but what if this happens? But I don't think I can do that. But I'm not sure. But we could not make anything. There's always, that voice that says, no, you might not be able to. It might not work out. So my book is the High Five Habit with Mel Robbins. Basically, it makes you look at yourself in the mirror and applaud yourself. Like it's take you back to the basics. Start all over. Look at yourself, appreciate yourself, and then start to believe in yourself. That was the book that I like.
I want to talk a little bit because that brought up something that me and my wife always talk about this about having working with your spouse. And maybe if your spouse is not on board, maybe whatever. But as a female, most females need security, right? That is one of their needs is security. And as an entrepreneur, security, there really isn't none.
No, not at all.
Like
Nope.
my wife is like, why can't we just have like a normal paycheck every
Yeah.
month? And it's
So we
just
can
like,
count on it. It'd be the same, but we know what to do with it because it's the same.
and it's not the same, right? But
Hmm.
there's some months that you're going to get a really good paycheck, and there's some months in January that you're like,
Hmm.
hmm,
Yep.
how are we going to get through this, right? I know. I know. And that's something that as men, that is not our, we don't care, right? We're just like, we're killers. We're going to go get it, whatever we need to do that. And so as men, we have another need, and it ain't got nothing to do with the business most of the time. But with that said, the need for a woman is security. And this is something that I'm not just saying this to say it, it's just what it is. Me and my wife talk about it all the time, and
Yep.
Bonnie's saying the exact same thing here. So this is and the security part of it is well, what if we don't do nothing? What if the world blows up? What if the truck blows up? Well, guess what? The truck's probably going to blow up. What if the
It did.
tire blows out? Well, guess what? The tire's probably going to blow up the same time the truck blows up because that's how everything works when you're in business, right? When one thing goes wrong, you might as well just throw everything up in the air and everything's going to go wrong all at one time. And that's not even joking. That's if you haven't been in business long, that's what's going to happen. An employee calls in, the truck breaks down, the tires fall off the trailer. I mean, it's just one of those things of like, what do we do? And
Yep.
as a female, that drives them crazy because that's not security, right? That's not, hey, that wasn't in the plan today. Come on now. And
Right. Are you
so,
listening to this?
So tell me a little bit on your side of it, because I know I'm kind of putting that in there, but tell me, am I on the right path to that? Or, how can you talk as a female talking to our husbands or to our husbands or to our spouses? How can we help people do that or move that through?
You mean move past the fear of being secure or
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. Um oh boy. That's a tough one, Jason. For me, honestly, I had to go back to, do I believe in him? And remind myself of that constantly, because I do believe in him, and I know that he's going to do whatever it takes for us to get there. I'm constantly questioning what he's doing to get there and if it's really going to work out, but we've gotten this far, so I think we can keep going. But yeah, you have to remember, it's not all about you. It's about you as a couple. It's about y'all. Um, so I just say focus on the positive qualities and just remember y'all are a team, and pray your little heart out.
Well, and that's back to putting God first, right?
Yeah. Yep. Hmm.
No, and I know we don't always get to talk about that, and that's something that I do believe that is it's important, right? I mean, like I say, I know some spouses out there that I mean, I know that they don't want their husband to be doing it at all, right? Or they don't believe in their own husband, and you
Hmm.
know, I don't know how they're still married sometimes, but that's part of it. Maybe there's kids involved or whatnot, but that's the way that we have to look at that.
Right.
I think too. I'm just gonna say something to this because I think it's important for the men listening to the podcast. Like, I mean, I think especially like us being blue collar entrepreneurs, like men got to start being men again, especially in this country. Like, if you start acting like a man, which a man is a purpose driven person that goes out, kills something, drags it back to the cave every day, no matter what. You know, in fact, like I think a great movie for any man to watch on this podcast is Cinderella Man. Amazing movie. It's everything that I'm saying right now. It's going to detail that in that movie. Um, you just got to believe in yourself and just go. You know, and sometimes people aren't going to agree with you. Sometimes your wife's not going to agree with you. But you know, I have a purpose in life, and I'm going to see that through hell or high water. Because at the end of the day, you know, I serve God first, and if I feel like He gave me a purpose to do something, I'm going to do it no matter what.
I agree 100%. Somebody asked a question. I'm trying to find it here. So I'm trying to. So the question is who wrote the book Mind Shift? His name is Erwin McManus. McManus. Erwin ErwinMcManus. McManus. I don't know, something along those lines. So that was to your answer there, Rich. There. All right. Well, what if you had to start all over for someone just starting out? What are some words of wisdom that you would tell them?
Don't be a bitch.
I didn't know Bobby Walker was on here.
Right. No, just I think you say it all the time. Just do it. Don't think about it. Don't over analyze. Just go. Don't worry about your, I know you've said this before, your logo or what the name of your company is going to be or what your t-shirt's going to look like or your flyer or whatever. Just go out there and start trying to find customers.
Yeah, has your logo changed in since you started, or your anything that you did in the beginning? Your business card changed from then till now?
Our logo is the same. I tried changing our business card. That was a mistake. I ordered the wrong size. They're like this little. We got like 2,000 of them. We still use them. But no, everything's the same, pretty much.
Yeah. What was the movie again? Was they ask?
Cinderella Man. I tell you, like, you are not wasting your night watching this movie. It's freaking phenomenal. I hope. I came from a long line of military veterans and blue collar workers, from my great grandfather being in World War II, working the farm the rest of his life, to grandfather in the oil field, to a father that was a mechanic. I mean, that's just the way we got to be as men. I mean, we have a purpose, we got to drive, we support our family, and like I said, hell or high water, you got to make it work. That's just the way it is, man. And we got to get back to that, especially right now in this country. Good God.
And to go back to your question, Jason, about how do you move past or become more secure in the future, you don't, to be honest with you. You just learn to live with the possibility that you're not sure what's going to happen, but you're also along for the ride. You don't ever get that in that security. It's just part of the gig. I'm sitting here thinking, like, how did I become more secure about it? Wait, I'm not. that's that's the God honest truth. Every day, you don't know, how much longer your business is going to last, but you make that day count.
No, and I love your honesty of it because it's true. I mean, you don't know.
Hmm.
In this business, you don't know. You don't know what the economy, how it's going to affect it. But on the other hand, with the other big pandemic that happened, that you thought you were safe there, that you wasn't safe there either, and you actually made more money doing this than if you would have been at another place. So you just don't know what's out there to be safe versus what's not.
I think what you learn is there's always a way. You don't know exactly what's going to happen. You might not be 100% sure, but there's always a way.
Hmm. Somebody asked the question: best marketing strategy that they have used.
Social media?
Just do it.
No.
Just, I mean, I don't think there's really like any good one. I think it's the one that you do consistently. That's probably the best one. We started out putting 1,000 yard signs out our first year. That's how we grew our business. This year, like, we post, several times a day on Facebook. Just find something that works, and man, keep just digging that well.
Yeah, I think that his consistency on Facebook, even though we might not know how many people know us because of that, because obviously you don't talk to all the people that are in the Facebook world. But I think that's helped get our name brand out there. As far as booking jobs, I think yard signs, especially in the beginning, honest to goodness, it was the best.
Little $3 yard sign.
Yep.
So true. If you aren't a little stressed and uncomfortable, you're in trouble and don't even know it. And it's back to, if you don't try and fail, that's the only way you're going to know and grow, right? Failure is not a bad thing. A lot of people think that if you fail, it's bad and terrible, but that's how you learn. You fail, you
Yep.
figure out what you did wrong and move forward and don't do that again. So
Yep.
I'm on the path to make $20,000 with Christmas light business, but I haven't target commercial. How do you get to commercial jobs?
Be a Karen. Go speak to the manager every time you
Yeah.
go into the facility.
Yeah.
Uh, no, just again, it comes down to consistency. Like, what are you consistently going to do? Because I know people that get a lot of commercial on yard signs because they
Right.
consistently do it. You know, I don't. I mean, I'm sure you can do unsolicited bids and go in and talk to the managers, but again, I think it falls back to what are you going to do every single day, and that's what is really going to get you your jobs, both residentially and commercial wise.
Nope, I
Yeah.
agree. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun. This audio is a lot better than our last time.
Yeah.
And I think people definitely got more value because they can actually hear everything that came out this time. And so, but you know what? Failures is what makes us better, and we keep growing. And so, with that, I appreciate you all coming on here. It's been fun. Again, if you want to go check out kingofpressurewash.com, that's where I do my in person classes, my online training. I don't have any in person training coming up. I do have online training there. I also have every Monday night we do a Zoom call. And then every other Sunday night, we just come and get on a Zoom call and ask questions. I haven't done it in a while. I got some feedback. I'll probably start doing it some more here coming up in this new year. But again, it is just a way that you can connect with other like minded people and grow your business. And so that's the whole point of why I do what I do is to help. My goal is to help 1,000 people make $100,000 a year because I do really believe that it can change your life and make you a lot different person than you are. You know what? And if you don't come in this class and you don't learn nothing, but you can take other skills that you've learned from it, you might not become the best pressure washer out there, but you may find something that you love to do even more by the skills that you learn. The thing about this business is it's not just about the pressure washing, right? The pressure washing is like this much of the pressure washing business. And so as you come in here and learn how to grow a successful business, you learn all kinds of skills that you never even knew that you would learn. And so I can show you people after people after people that have learned skills. I learned the skill of how to talk on video and start doing this. I was out with my mom for lunch a day, and she said, I would have never thought you'd be doing what you're doing right now. And so that's the cool thing about this here. I was in speech therapy in school. I couldn't, English is my worst subject. I still can't talk worth a crap, can't write worth a crap. But you know what? I feel like I can help a lot of people grow their business, and I get messages all the time. Jason, I feel like you're in your calling, and that is my goal: is to help you grow your pressure washing Christmas light service business and keep you moving forward. And so, with that, I appreciate everybody coming on tonight, and we'll see you all later. Hang on, guys.